Sir. All right, sir. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bayo. I will be anchoring you tonight. Thanks a lot, Coach Josh, for the wonderful introduction. I would start to tell you a little bit of myself. I studied agricultural and bioenvironmental engineering. My core specialization is in post-harvest option. From my technical experience in operations at Procter & Gamble, baby care department where we make diapers, I actually love preventive maintenance. The reason why I love that is because I have been with this multinational company that showed me how a fast-paced, fast-moving production system works. So let me give you an example. We produce 450 parts per minute on our line. And if you sell each of the parts for 40 naira, as at then, I'm sure that if you buy at lower end, you should be getting maybe something like 100 naira per part. But let's just take 40 naira as at that time, 2012, 2011. If you sell 40 naira, 450 parts will give you 18K, 18,000 naira. That's a little bit of change some of us used to, do minor things, fuel our car and all of that. So it doesn't really make any mark. But can you help me multiply that in 1 hour? 18K in 1 minute. If you have a stopover in your machine, your machine stop production for 1 hour, you would have lost 1,080,000. Oh, so now, okay, so it's paying you now. So, okay, it's making sense. So if you say, okay, let me leave the engine, let me still manage it and all of that, and then you have like 5 hours of delay, you're going to make about 108 million naira loss. No wonder when one of our big boss, Peter, who was a business owner, will come to the line when we have a intervention or we have a shutdown, and he will start shouting, guys, I'm losing millions. Guys, I'm losing millions. Some of us at that time really don't understand the business behind the figure he's quoting. So when we do a monthly review and he said, I lost 240 billion this month, we just look at the guy and we laughed. What is he talking about? But when I start to grow up in my field, I now start to understand when you have a downtime with your engine, that you're actually losing a lot of things. You are losing time, which you cannot buy. You are also losing money. You are losing human resources because all of those persons on the operation field or in your plant at that point, we have to be paid, no matter what happens to your sales or not. Don't forget, P&G also takes money like 6 months, 2 years ahead of production. So, which means what we are producing has been sold already 2 years ago. Therefore, if the system doesn't produce, if the line breaks down, if the engine breaks down, the business owner is making a lot of loss. And this is how they do KPI for you. This is how they rate all of us. This is how they promote us and give us the dollars as we make money. So I understand that preventive maintenance actually beats every other cost you can ever incur on your business. Because preventive maintenance simply means an act of fixing things before they break down to eliminate wastage. And this will actually cut your costs, it will improve your productivity, and it will improve your engine lifetime. Why am I telling you all of this? I'm saying this because I'm going to start to apply them as we go on. FFX is a king when it comes to preventive maintenance. I'll say that again. Coach, are you there? Am I still on?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Oh,
I
okay.
will use that.
Okay. So the preventive maintenance is a core discipline for big guys. Big guys that has big engines, they are investing a lot of their money in manufacturing, mining, and all of that. Let me share you my testimony about FFX with you. Before I go to the a brief summary of engineering action of the product itself. The last week, second to the last week of June, I got FFX from my friend, my partner. I used to call him my Egbon. I took one such a 10 mil from him. I spoke to my friend, Coach Rufus, in Ibadan before I went back to Lagos. I used that 10 mil in a 75 kVA gen in church. Normally, when we buy 25 liters, what we normally do is we run Saturday, Sunday service, and we have 3 liters left. But what happened this particular time was, okay, since I already have 3 liters that will be left, on Saturday evening, after treating 25 liters with 5 mil of FFX, I took 3 liters out after the Saturday evening class. I took 3 liters out to run the smaller gen so that I can run freezer and all of that. On Monday, after we run the Saturday, Sunday, on Monday, I siphoned all the fuel left in the big gen. I was able to get 11 liters. What does that tell me? It tells me that normally we use 25 liters and we will have 3. So which means our consumption for Saturday, Sunday is actually 22 liters. But now we are supposed to use 22 liters. We are supposed to have used 22 liters. And I've also used the 3 liters that's supposed to remain. But now I still have 11 liters with me. That means FFS have actually saved us 100% cost. Which means the fuel we are using, we are to use for 1 week, Saturday, Sunday service for 1 week, will be enough for 2 weeks. That takes a lot of costs off from our neck. The second testimony I had, it's in my car, Corolla T3. I have 55-liter tank. And when I go, I normally go to Ibadan once a week to teach a class on Thursday and Friday. So I use my full tank, Tofro. I live on the island. Do you know that after treating FFX, full tank, my first treatment, what I noticed was I did full tank just as I used to load. I went, I came back, I still have half tank. So I said, okay, maybe the gauge is not working. So the second time I loaded my car, I now took a picture of the odometer, wrote down my mileage. After traveling for 153 kilometers, it was just quarter tank that left my tank. I did my class Thursday, Friday. I came back to Lagos. I still have half tank. That means it is now clearly shown that I have saved 50% cost from my consumption. I sold 10 mil sachet to one of my friends. He has a bar close to the Atlantic Ocean in Eleko Beach on the island. And he normally uses 15 liters from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day to chill the drinks and to play music. And he treated 5 mil he treated 15 liters of fuel with 5 mil. And he was able to use it for Saturday, 7 to 10. He used it on Sunday, 7 to 10. He used it on Monday, 7 to 12 p.m. That is 150% savings, if I'm correct in my calculation. This is the level at which FFS brings you, helps you reduce costs, and then helps you in performance. So let me now go to the engineering secret. I don't want to call it secret. I want to call it a system that actually makes FFX works. Because you might be asking me, won't you spoil my engine? What is it doing in my engine? What magic is it doing that is giving me this result? So let me give you the magic that it's doing. Before I do that, I will quickly explain to you what exactly happens in a four-stroke engine. When you buy fuel, when you have a car and you buy fuel and you are putting your transmission maybe in drive, or if you are using manual, you put in 1, 2, reverse, and it's moving. What is happening? Exactly. This is what is happening. In a four-stroke engine, we have, just like the name, we have 4 different cycle stroke. The first stroke is what is called intake. The second one is compression. The third stroke is power stroke or combustion stroke. And the last one is exhaust stroke. So I will quickly explain in the few time that I have. You'll bear with me. I will need to rush it so that I will not bore you with so many grammar. The first stroke, which is the intake, happens is the piston with the connecting rod to the crankshaft move from BDC, which is bottom dead center, in the hollow chamber of the engine, block engine, moves from down, and as it's moving, the intake valve will open, and you will have a movement as it moves from TDC to BDC. Don't forget, the piston is moving from the top down to the bottom. That's what is happening. As it's going, there's an inert force that acts on the valve, intake valve. And the intake valve slowly opens. Why it slowly opens? The inlet of fuel mixed with atmospheric pressure. And here we be introduced. So what do I mean in layman language? What I mean is, if you look at your car, you see that there's a place they call air filter. That air filter is actually filtering dust and sound, but it's just a direct flow of a direct connection of getting atmospheric air inside your engine, because your engine will not work without oxygen, and the only place that you can have abundance of oxygen is in the atmosphere. So as the air is coming in, your brain box, which is the ECU, the only work your brain box is doing is to determine the volume of air that will be mixed with the volume of fuel that you have in your tank. So your pump will pump air, you will pump fuel, whether diesel or petrol or gas, from wherever the reservoir is, and then the brain box will meter it and give a normal ratio. It can be 6:1, it can be 10:1, it can be 3:1, 5:1, depending on the timing of your engine. You will hear something when the mechanic used to say, timing yellow, timing better, time chain yellow, I'm a set timing. So when they tell you timing, they are trying to tell you that the H engine are timed to determine, because of their capacity. It is, let me not go into all of that. So what we are just saying is, air and fuel will mix together and come into your hollow chamber, which we call the combustion chamber, or you call the engine block. Once it gets there, that's the first stroke, intake stroke. The second stroke is compression stroke. What that means is the piston that has gone down to the BDC, which is the bottom dead center, will slowly come up. And while it's coming up, the inlet valve and the exhaust valve will close. And that will form a tight seal. And there will be the air mixture and the fuel mixture in between the piston head and the valves. Therefore, as the piston is coming up, it's compressed mixture of fuel and air at high temperature and pressure. And therefore, the fuel molecules start to energize, and they start to rise, and the temperature start to rise, and pressure start to rise. It's going somewhere. Where it's going is combustion. It's going to burn. Now, the third stroke is the power stroke, which is the combustion stroke. Once according to the timing and the brain burst communication, that's already say, okay, let's say once this mixture gets to 100 psi pressure, 100 degrees centigrade temperature, oh yeah, spark plug, which is your normal plug now, it will take a spark, an electric charges from your battery. That's what your battery is doing. You will give him some charges, and then it will drop this charge in this tight, sealed, hollow chamber. And once it drops it, you will just hear boom. The boom that happens sends the piston vigorously back to the bottom dead center. And once it's going down, because the connecting rod from the piston is connected to the crankshaft, it will turn the crankshaft. That is how your engine will move. So it will the high gaseous, the gases that are expounding from the fuel, from the burning fuel, will force the piston to go down vigorously so that your crankshaft will turn. And that is how you get power from your fuel in the presence of oxygen taken from atmospheric air, and is translated to the rotary part where you have energy delivered to your engine. And it is your gear system, which is its transmission, whichever one you call it, now moderates how you select, how you use the fuel. The power generated, pardon me. So if you want to use all of the fuel, it means you need to raise up so that you can put your engine or your gear system into 5. If you are using manual, if you are in 5, it means that you are using almost 100% of energy produced. Let's not go into that, but I hope you understand. Now, the last stroke, which is the exhaust stroke, is where the spent gases and the unburnt fuel are released. They are expelled to the atmosphere. This is what the scientists call emissions. So normally, because the engine is timed, so there's a limited time given to the piston to come from bottom dead center, to come up, do the compression, do the combustion. And then there's also a limited time that is allowed for him as he goes back to drive your engine to give you rotary motion so that your engine can move, your motor can move. It will also come up again. When it's coming up, the intake valve will not open. It is the exhaust valves that will open. That will now be the opening where the spent gases, hot spent gases, are sent out, and the unburnt fuel. Now there will be unburnt fuel because not all fuel has the same octane rating. So I'll go into that in a few minutes, but let me just go on so that you don't get lost. Once that is done, you would see that if you check your exhaust at the back, exhaust pipe, you will see some things coming. Even if you buy brand new cars, they have emissions that comes out. Now, why you have catalyst in your exhaust is to help you reduce the kind of emissions that comes out so that you can protect the environment. This is a normal working operation of a 4-stroke engine. Having said that, the question you should ask me is, so what does fuel factor X, FFA, does in your engine after all of this grammar? This is what it does. FFA does about 16 things, but because of my time, I will give you 8. One of the things FFA does is that it serves as catalyst. The science behind it is organometallic chemistry. Now, organometallic chemistry is a catalyst that helps to ignite your fuel at lower temperature. So instead of your piston to stress, your piston, your connecting rod, your rings, your valve, your crankshaft, your camshaft, instead of them to stress themselves to the level of reaching 100%, 100 degrees centigrade or 100 psi pressure and temperature, if you introduce a catalyst, just like the name, the catalyst is a substance that speeds up a chemical reaction. it will speed up the chemical reaction. So you can then ignite it, maybe say 20 psi or 20 degrees centigrade. That means it will take longer time for the fuel that has not been fully compressed to burn. Because what happens is, for why you can convert your petrol or diesel engine to gas is because it is the hot gases that your piston needs to move. So once there are gases that can burn, it will move your engine, even if it's CNG, which is a compressed natural gas, or LPG, which is liquefied petroleum gas. Anyone, so far it will burn, no problem. It will move your car. Therefore, what FFL does is to serve as catalyst so that all the fuel molecules that have been compressed will completely burn and will be used up. And also, there will be lower onboard fuel to send out, to expel, and there will be lower emission. Therefore, it is good for the environment. It will also lessen strain and stress on the parts. Another thing it will do is that it will, don't forget that the organic metallic compound just explained to you that helps your engine to quickly catalyze the reaction. Actually won Nobel Prize as far back as 1973. So it's not a magic, it's a science. It's science that has won many awards. Second thing the FFS will do is that it has lubricant. Don't forget that the engine is moving, the piston is always moving the hollow chamber up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So part of the engine, I mean the piston and the connecting rod and the crusher are submerged in lubricating oil so that iron will not grind iron, so that they can last longer. But the ceiling in between the valves and the piston head, there's no engine oil, so that it will not corrupt the system. But FFX has a lubricity that is present in your fuel, so which means that there's an additional lubricant for your moving part. In other words, that will also protect and remove friction from your piston, your pumps, and your injector. It will extend also how long you change your oil interval. I serviced my car about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and despite going long distance, I'm using the car almost every time. I still have my clean oil. The reason is because FFX has a lubricant that lubricates and helps to extend the engine life and the engine oil. Also, FFX has the detergent. You know that anywhere you are burning something, even if it's your backyard, you are burning small refuse, you know that there will always be carbon, there will be soot, there will be things that will dirty the place. That's exactly how our engine system is. Therefore, once you have FFX in your system, it's going to help you to clean your engine, to make them easy and sharp. Not only that, FFX has a polymerization retardant. What that means is it reduces solid formation in your fuel tank so that your engine can last long. You know, the petrol you have, the petrol from natural crude oil will not work in your engines. It has they need to blend it and then treat it. It's a treated fuel. So those treated fuel, they actually have ability to break down over time. And if you are not careful, you just see that solids are formed in your tank. So FFS prevent that. Also, rust and corrosion, FFS inhibits that, so that your fuel system, for example, some people, when they park their car and they travel, when they come back, they have to go and bring mechanical wire to come and start their car again. Because rust and corrosion, the fuel they left would have rusted and then would have corroded some of the fuel system in such a way that they need to be cleaned out. But if you are using FFX, you can park your car as long as you want, and nothing happens to your fuel lines. Not only that, it's also it removes water from your fuel so that, especially for diesel engines, water is their enemy. One single drop of water can actually spoil injector, and their injectors are very expensive. So it's really, really important that you care for your engine with FFX. Also, it's a fuel stabilizer. Like I told you, all these fuel compounds, they are mixed with blend of treatment. Therefore, you must have a fuel stabilizer like FFS that helps them to have longer shelf life so that they don't break down. If you keep petrol, say for about 2 years, after looking at it, you see that it's not smelling like petrol again. Why? Because it has broken down. And this is what FFS does to help you stabilize it. It also increases the octane rating for petrol and cetane for diesel so that it becomes a premium product. In the US and Europe, you will see that the petrol, they have different type of petrol. They have 83, 87, 93, 97, 90 octane rating. But in Nigeria, we don't have. We only buy, our importers only buy the cheapest. And that is why FFX is working more in Africa, because we have bad fuel in Africa, you know. And remember that I told you to do 16 things, but because of my time, I'm going to give you this and stop. But remember that there's no other product on the market that actually has this. It is either they have one or two. And even if you read their leaflets, they also will tell you what they do. Most of them are just injector cleaners and carburetor cleaners. But the ones that will help maintain your engine for longer life is what you have in FFA that does 16 things on your engine. Additionally, let me give you a little bit of a laboratory test. My Daily Choice, which is our company, actually ran a test in Idaho, United States of America, in the national laboratory. They tested FFX. Let me give you the results. In June 2009, they allowed the 100 buses that the laboratory has to run on untreated diesel. They recorded the result. Then in August 2009, they now treated 10,000 liters of diesel with FFX and then allowed their buses to use it. This is the result. The result, they have between 3 to 10% fuel economy. I will say that again. Between 3 to 10% fuel economy. For you, it doesn't make any sense, but let me tell you what it means in dollar. Because their fuel, their diesel is premium diesel, their high-rated cetane diesel. When the calculation was done on how much the 3 to 10% savings that FFS has done for them is worth in dollar, it was $184,000. If you do that times 900 naira in Nigerian currency, you'll be talking about 164 million naira saved with just 3 to 10%. Now, they also have, they lower their emission, they have high engine performance. But let me now shock you. In Africa, and especially in Asia, we just run into gold mine with FFX. You know why? We are in $1 million business, folks. You know why? As international prices of fuel is rising, we will be catching out big because the fuels are very bad. That is why in Africa, in Asia, we have between 30 to 150%. I can quote me anywhere. My personal testimony, I have between 30 to 150% fuel economy with FFX. Let me quickly go to who can use this. Who can use this? Vehicles and engines that use combustible fuel, like petrol, diesel, gas, CNG, LPG, gas, kerosene, jet, and aviation fuel, such as your cars, your jets, your plane, your boat, your truck, your bike, your keke, your generator, your cooking gas, and every other thing. How do you use it? The recommended usage is between 3 to 7 full tank treatment. with double dose. What does that mean? A normal dose is 1 ml to 10 liters. A double dose is 1 ml to 5 liters. So for 3 to 7 tank full challenge, before you can decide if FFS has done satisfactorily for your engine, you must have used it for 3 full tanks or 7 full tanks. Let me tell you why. There are different types of engines and there are different types of capacity. A 1.6 liter engine, you can compare it with a 1.2 liter engine. A 3.7 liter engine, you can compare it with a 2.4 liter engine. A 6.8 liter engine, you can compare with a 3.5 liter engine. Now, engines have different capacities. So because we don't have a uniformity of age, production year, and capacity of different engines. So it will be wrong if I tell you that it is what happens to my car that will happen to you. No. What happens to your car will be different from what happens to mine. So what we have, what the company is saying is this: make sure that you are using it correctly. Service your engines. If it's generator, make sure you change the oil, clean oil, and fill the tank at least double dose between 3 to 7 tanks. And we are seeing results. Some of the persons that didn't say fuel economy because their engine needs to be cleaned on the first usage always gives a testimony that their engine capacity performance increased. Okay, if you are trying to treat cooking gas, you need 2 mil for 12 kg. If you have 6 kg, you use 1 mil. Therefore, you must understand that if you have a self-contained or you are in a room, a parlor self-contained, if you move from 1 room to a 3-room, it will take you longer time to clean a 3-room. If you are living in a self-contained and you normally clean your room maybe in 5 hours, 2 hours, if you now move to a 5-bedroom duplex, it will take you more than that. That's exactly how engines are. So definitely you would need more time to treat bigger engines. I'm going to stop here because of our time so that I can hand you over to the wonderful coach who is going to take your business. I want to close by saying that we have many universities, many schools, many hotels who are using these products, individuals, people who are having awesome results. Testimonies are coming in every day. I have 2 abokis beside me. They use 4 liters every day from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. to run their business, bike business. And I gave them 1 meal for free. I gave the 2 of them one meal. They bought 4 liters. At the end of the day, they told me they say I have 2.5 liters. I recorded them. That was wow. That was 110% savings. This is what it does to an engine. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Wow. Awesome. I don't know if you got value. From that awesome presentation, but if you got value, can you just type it in the chat? Value. Can you see why you need FFX? Can you see that everybody needs FFX? Right? I mean, so I've never even understood it as deeply as awesome engineer Bayo has explained it to us tonight. So the lower temperature thing is just making more sense to me as he was explaining it. So this is awesome. It's not magic. The people that understand it, they understand it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for this great expose. Thank you for opening our eyes to the value